Hello and welcome back to Fili Daily Vlogs. Today is March 62nd, sorry, May
Feels
1st,
like it.
Yeah, more or less. More or less.
and this is the last day of the seventh week of our social distancing. And
Yay.
it's crazy. Yeah, it's been wild, and it's we haven't really discussed it yet as a business, but this could be the last episode, at least last regular daily episode.
Hmm.
For a while. It also might not be, but we're we're gonna just kind of play that as we go. So, um, and I think we like some elements of this just to kind of give updates to friends and family and anyone interested in Feely. So we may try to keep this going maybe on a weekly basis or
Hmm.
bi-monthly or something, just to
Yeah.
just to keep the conversation going. So
And we could all be in the same shot instead of
I
being in three
know
different ones.
that would be really nice, wouldn't
I
it?
mean, for editing wise, I mean, granted, editing from Zoom is way easier,
It is.
Yeah.
but
It truly is.
Very true. Well, let's go ahead and start things with our normal COVID-19 business here. So jumping into the New York Times website here, 3.2
Oh.
million. We went up again by roughly that same number, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little bit more if we zoom in. No, yeah, a little bit more. I think we're
mm,
Mm-hmm.
kind of in line with this bump over here. New
Yeah,
bump
it
over
kind of it kind of seems like things are going in waves, and I'm not sure if it's just the number of reporting and what days they can report or do report,
here.
but it kind of seems like it rides that little roller coaster.
Yeah. I
yeah,
agree.
for sure.
So I had not too many changes really in the world map besides numbers going up, obviously.
Wow. Yeah, Turkey's getting up there.
Oh yeah,
120.
Hmm.
there's some of these that are just really hard to know, like
Mm-hmm.
Iran, for instance,
Yeah. Yeah.
or North Korea. They say they don't even have cases, but um, more than likely they're getting hit hard.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, yeah, let's jump down to the United States where we are kind of in a similar, we've gone through several waves. We're on the upswing again here. Million cases,
Mm.
63,000 deaths. Um,
Yeah, it didn't take long to get to 60,000.
yeah.
No, it really didn't.
It's been what since it was 40,000. Like I don't know what 2 weeks ago.
Hmm.
Seems like, and
It
that
just
was over. That was 40,000 over like the whole like 2 months
it
almost.
just blows my mind that 63,000 people that have died in the last 2 months.
Hmm.
That's just crazy.
It's so easy to disassociate when it's not someone that's close to you, and that,
Right, somebody that you know.
well, especially it's like it's a number, and already there's kind of a dissociation or detachment from that, but it when you actually sit down and think about it, it's horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
That's that I you know
These are some very interesting graphs I haven't seen yet.
hmm,
This is where, let me zoom in a little.
these look
This
like
is
they're
where
state
new
ones.
cases are increasing. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
so these are all graphs like ours. Here's Kansas down here,
Yep.
um, where it's just going up. Puerto Rico is crazy. I'm not sure
Jeez.
what's going
They
on.
it looks like they had a day where they just didn't report at all.
If I had to guess, I would say this is, due to just things work a little differently down there, I think, than
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
the mainland. Here's where cases are mostly the same, so they've kind of flattened, and here's where they've decreased cases.
On a
So,
7-day average.
honestly, yep.
mm.
Good.
So, yeah,
We're in the worst group to be in.
Yay. Well,
because
at
there
least
is,
we're near the end.
yeah, it's
Small
it's
consolation.
because we're not all rural places here. There's some of the, like, okay, so Iowa, Missouri, Kansas, Nebraska. Like, of
Right.
course, I'm a little surprised to see Massachusetts, Illinois, Maryland, kind of in this list of us not
Right.
doing so hot folks.
Right. Delaware. Some of those places are really crowded places.
Also, look at Wyoming. This is
Right.
interesting.
What happened there?
I would guess this is
Holy cow.
pretty good social distancing, and now we don't care anymore. You know,
Mm-hmm.
Either that or it's everyone got infected really quick and then they all died off because that means there are no active cases and then just more people got infected.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
As far as like flattening the curve goes, I know at least one or two of you probably saw it, but apparently in New Zealand, they seem to
Yeah.
have not necessarily eradicated it, but they haven't reported any new cases
Yep.
for a while, and
Good for them.
they've been very smart about
Just
about
one more
everything.
reason we should all move there.
Agreed. The main one was obviously Lord of the Rings, because who doesn't want to live in the Shire?
Well, you know, one of the reasons New Zealand, I think, has done fairly well is their geographical isolation,
They can just refuse to let people in or out and contain it.
and they have a history of, like, I'm pro immigration. I think those things are good for the world. You know, to spread people around. It has its downsides though, and during pandemics, obviously the movement of people probably isn't a great thing.
Yeah.
Overall. But what they do in New Zealand is they're very careful about the movement of people, of goods, of animals, because they're so isolated. They have a very unique ecosystem and a very unique, so they're just, I think, in many ways, I like watching to see what Jacinda Ardern, the Prime Minister, how she kind of leads that country. Because I will say, did either of you had the opportunity to watch Laura Kelly, the Kansas governor's speech yesterday?
I
didn't watch all of it. I watched a little bit of it.
I was going to ask you.
Hannah and I watched it in its entirety, and she started, and it's actually pretty neat. She started telling the story of three different people in Kansas that kind of were emblematic of. Am I still sharing screen?
You were not.
No.
Okay, good. I just wanted to double check. Sorry. One was a police officers from Lindsborg that basically held a party while social distancing for a 95-year-old woman here in Lindsborg. Another one was the gentleman who sent his face mask into the governor of New York.
I saw that. Yep.
Yeah. And another one was a nurse who traveled from Kansas to New York to help in the hospitals there. And so she started with that, and she ended with them as well. And it just was, I think it shows good leadership that she tried very hard to make it as apolitical as possible. People will take things politically.
No, of course.
But I really saw a great speech and a great leader in what she did and what she said. She's trying hard to get the state back to normal, but she's also trying hard to keep people safe. And so, yeah, I appreciate.
So, so then sorry, cannot think of words. So we haven't, the stay at home hasn't been extended then.
So May 3rd is when the first phase of
which I have the kind of dumbed down version of her phase. If you want, I'll screen share that.
So basically, let's see it there, Tim. But basically, the first phase is,
maybe I can.
The stay-at-home order is lifted, but you can't gather in groups larger than 10 people.
Yeah.
Hairdressers, salons, barbershops, gyms,
bars.
Yep. All of those will continue to be closed for at least 2 weeks. At the end of that, which is May 17th or something like that, that will begin the second phase. And the second phase is upping the amount of people that can get together to 30 people. Although I believe those hairdressers and bars and things will remain closed at that time. And the third phase will begin on June 1st or after, depending on all of these phases could be moved back in time.
Yeah. Yeah, they all have the no sooner than caveat attached to them. So
by June 1st, that would be when we could start phasing out we would go to, I think it was a 50-person limit.
Mhm.
Something like that. If you go to the link I sent in the chat, you should be able to pull it up. For some reason, I can't seem to let
Oh, your screen share?
it. Yeah, it's being difficult.
Okay, one second.
So,
Sorry about that.
if you go in there, there's a. Actually, I could probably just upload the. Give me just 1 second. Let me. In the downloads. Somewhere in here. Actually, it would be in recent. That'd be the fastest way.
Do the plan.
Okay, I put it in the chat. There's a simpler version that's just like a bunch of slides.
Yep, I've got that.
Okay.
Up here. So I will go ahead and share my screen here. All right, so here we have the governor's plan. Oh, I already clicked. Oh shoot,
That's the original one.
This is the one. And basically, phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase out. So, yeah, the dates are May 4th, May 18th, June 1st, and June 15th. So, the soonest we can technically get back to normal would be June 15th, assuming that we don't have to slide out any of these phases into longer.
Right.
This is really a key point here. Stable or declining over a 14-day period.
Right. I don't know that we're seeing that. I'm just seeing the main page.
I am too.
Oh, it's not. Okay, one second.
I think something froze.
I think I
clicked the wrong button here. Give me a second.
I was wondering why, you kept pointing to specific spots and there was nothing on the screen.
That's so weird.
I didn't know this was like in invisible ink that only you could read it. There we go.
Sorry about that. Here we go. There's our phases. May 4th, May 18th, June 1st, June 15th.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, so stable or declining over a 14-day period. Decreasing deaths, decreasing number of admissions to hospitals. So yeah, we can just go through these phases really quick.
Yeah.
Phase 1, no more than 10 people, maintaining all of our mask wearing and 6-foot social distancing. Telework is still encouraged when possible. Travel, it should be minimized or avoided. So let's just jump down to the next phase.
Wow. They outlined the heck out of that.
Yeah,
she met with so many different people coming up with this plan. I mean, there was like, I don't know, maybe 100 different people that she worked with to develop this, and with guidance from a whole bunch of different people. So at phase 2, which will begin no earlier than 2 weeks from now, basically, 30 people would be the max gathering, still masks, still telework, still minimizing or avoiding travel. And I believe the next one is where we can start opening.
Yeah, I think so.
90 people, not 50, excuse me, 90 people. Yep. Still trying to, if you're sick, you're in your home, still trying to maybe we don't shake hands anymore. At this point, we could start non-essential travel. And technically it's okay to have people working in the same space again.
In lieu of shaking hands, I've seen a lot, like there is, I've been told by some folks that they're doing kind of like a tapping foot or something like that as one way. Or we could just go to the ultimate way and just bow, which I would be perfectly fine with. I mean, I
don't think we're going to be seeing the European traditions of kissing.
I was going to say, that's like the most closest intimate one.
No.
So you don't want to do that one, Amber?
Open mouths while we're at it.
Right? Let's just greet each other by like coughing.
Oh God.
Straight into somebody's face.
Oh God.
My germs are your germs.
That's how we'll build herd immunity.
Oh goodness.
I mean, to be fair, hugging is
phase 4, required coughing on everyone.
Oh God. That way we all have it.
Right.
Oh, that's horrifying.
It's just gonna turn into a really weird version of like Zombieland. Like anybody who's infected, just remember the double tap. Oh man, have you guys seen the second one yet?
Mm-mm.
I haven't either.
Sorry, the second what?
Zombieland.
Oh no.
I haven't seen the second one yet. It's supposed to be pretty funny though.
Hmm. Well, does you have any questions?
I does not at the moment. I almost entered this meeting wearing my banjo. Almost. I have finally kind of gotten back to like the last 2 or 3 days. I've been trying to actively practice more because like I don't know what it is about being in quarantine, but I know myself and other folks necessarily haven't practiced as much, even though we're home all the time. Because I know, like for me, like my banjo sits out like in front of my fireplace, and just that it's the easiest place to put it, and it stares at me, and like I did that so I would practice more, but you know.
Okay, so how about instead of like just discussion questions, how about an agree or disagree question?
Okay.
Okay, so do you think that social media has improved human communication? Yes or no, and why?
There are degrees, I think. Um, okay, so there are pros and cons. On the one hand, I think it has allowed a little bit more widespread and active availability, a much more active availability when it comes to connecting with other people.
Right, I think it made communication faster.
It does. It definitely does, and it makes it more widespread. Like I know, pretty much all like in the last decade, pretty much all the theater shows that I've been a part of, um, all of them tend to communicate through Facebook and like through like scheduling meetings and rehearsals and stuff like that. And I do the same for anytime I do it, like in producing like the radio shows, because it's just the most convenient way to do things. Um, However, on the flip side of all of that, it's you can't convey tone very well when it comes to the tech to just text media in general. So that is a little bit of an issue. I mean that has been since like texting and email even has been available, but
Right.
I think the main drawback with all of that is really the widespread uh, just the widespread misinformation that's put out there on social media that so many people don't check before sharing because people see something on whatever page they follow and they just immediately share it.
Right.
And so I think there's a certain degree of people not, of maybe more people not checking the facts before they spew whatever diatribe they believe in.
Yeah. I kind of studied communications. I did in college, but I kind of studied like the active social media and how it's changed communications. And I think it is like a significantly deeper level than that even. Like we can look at a meme and like know exactly what it means and what feelings it conveys and how it works. So
That
like
is true.
I don't know how much like you guys know about memes or how like in depth you are with them, but like things like the loss meme, it was like a comic originally of like a guy rushing to a hospital to check on his wife, and she's like in a hospital bed all sad and everything, and it was like a dramatic comic. And the way that the people were standing in the frame, it was a 4-frame comic, and you know the first frame he's upright and he's the only one, so like there's only one line in that one, and then the second box is like him and like somebody else, which is like the doctor or the person at the counter, and then it's him and like his wife laying down is like it makes 2 lines on the screen. So like each one of those frames is like a different orientation, and people were like filling them with different things like pizza slices that were in that orientation, and they're like, is this a lost meme? So like just the like orientation of things gets stuck so fast that like people communicate and it can be anything and look like anything, but everyone still knows what we're talking about. Or like
That's
text
true.
like LOL or BRB and all those things, like would never have existed if we didn't have like social media or the internet. Like, it's literally changed what words mean to us.
I can agree with that. And there's so many like you know, even five, I would say even 5 years ago, 5 to 6 years ago, I don't think memes were that prevalent. And I don't, it's so weird that um,
Right.
to to think about that. It was like there was a time when like, hey, I didn't really search through Facebook all that much and didn't spend so much time on other things, just going through and seeing other memes and posting and sharing, because that's, I think, anymore that seems to be a lot of what most people do is,
Right.
and myself included. I mean, obviously, I like to throw out tidbits of fun things that are nerdy that I like, or music and stuff like that. But you know,
Weirds me out to think that, in a couple generations, like students will be forced in their history classes to like review historic memes.
Mm-hmm.
It's
They
fun.
actually have like a
oh, that's so
study.
weird.
They have like a study of memology right now. Like, you can get a
Really?
degree in that. Here, I'm gonna share my screen really quick, and I'll show you what I was talking about.
Yeah.
You see that?
Hmm.
Okay, so
Okay.
this is the lost meme.
Okay.
This is the orientation of the lines or whatever object you want to put in to the meme. Okay, so then like this is a good example of it. This is a lost meme because there's one, then there's one and a shorter one, him and the doctor talking, and then him and his wife laying down.
Huh.
So like this would be considered a lost meme.
Weird.
Right. It's just, it's crazy. It is crazy what the internet has done to the world.
Wow. I
Wrap my
I
mind around.
don't think I even knew about that one. There. Oh man.
And
It,
that is like the world's biggest meme right now. Like
really.
yep. Like, and
Surprisingly, I haven't seen that.
it's been around since like 2017.
Wow.
Like, the title of that webpage was "Here's to the Lost Meme, Internet's Greatest Meme." Like, it's just the one that everyone knows.
It's really
I'm
like
afraid I didn't really know anything about that meme.
I don't think I've seen it much either, which is weird. Oh man, it's so weird to think about. Like, memes are such a part of everything right now, um, in general.
It's kind of our collective consciousnesses like effort to like disseminate knowledge, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
we're trying
Yeah,
to make sense of our shared experiences, and like the best way we can do that is by communicating through shared photos or shared ideas. And it's just
Hmm.
interesting to yeah, to see. Hmm.
it kind of makes me feel like, in a weird way, this is our version of hieroglyphs.
Yeah, kind of.
Because like,
I don't know.
behind
Pictures have
each
always
one is,
conveyed a better feeling than words. Like, it's
yeah. Well, I
more
mean, they do
understandable
say
to human nature to see
mhm.
something than to just read about it.
It's true when they say a picture's worth 1,000 words. So I mean,
Yeah, you.
I don't know. It's weird, like, to what if we started communicating only in meme or only in pictures again? Like, wouldn't that be so weird?
Yeah, you like pull up to McDonald's for breakfast or whatever, and you like text them a picture of yourself getting.
Oh
Like,
my gosh, that would be hilarious.
oh, that sounds really painful. Let's not do
I'm now ordering my food only in that manner.
that.
Oh man.
Oh, so I had an interesting question pop up.
Okay.
Okay.
What is how far back can you trace your history, your family roots?
Oh.
I so I've thought about doing this before. I don't know if either of you have done like the ancestry.com or 23andMe stuff.
My grandma was a very avid family historian, and she has collected many, many generations of knowledge. She did a lot of genealogy work for us,
Mm.
Hmm.
so I haven't had the need to.
I don't know much other than I know. Let's see.
I want
Really, as far
to.
back as I can remember, is like my great grandpa. But according to my aunt, um, we're supposed to have like Scottish heritage and some other stuff in us, which makes sense. With our last name being Burns, um, in theory, we're possibly related to Robert the Bruce, but I don't know that how accurate that really is. Um, so I really have no idea. I have thought about doing like the Ancestry.com or like 23andMe and seeing what they can trace back.
So it's interesting the differences between like so ancestry, for instance. Ancestry has two sides, right? There's the genetic side and there's the family tree side.
Right.
Right.
And they don't necessarily talk to each other or really work together all that well.
Right.
The blood side can tell you very different things than just looking
Your
back through.
genealogy side, right?
Yeah.
So let me show you. I'm going to share my screen again here, and I'm going to show you. I've done quite a bit of work on the um, genealogy side. Excuse me.
Ah, okay.
And
Holy
so
cow.
here I am. Here's my dad and my mom,
Mm-hmm.
and here are my grandparents. Here are my great grandparents. Here are my great great grandparents. So if we go through my dad, my grandma, my great grandfather, my great great grandfather, and then if we go through his mom and his mom or her mom,
Holy cow.
I've gotten back. I'm reasonably sure to this point.
Mm-hmm.
After this, it gets way harder.
Yeah, because
Still,
around the 1500s, it's really hard to keep track of birth records.
some of these were actually I tied on to other people's family trees, and so I'm reasonably
Oh.
sure. Like I didn't come up with these myself. Like these are stuff other people had
Oh,
already.
yeah, that's the leaves. I see what you mean. They're the
Yeah.
ones that it kind of gives you
So
So how do they trace stuff like that through?
based on other people's work as well.
well, so the foundation, kind of the roots of all of this, is in documentation.
Mm-hmm.
So historically, anytime somebody was born,
Mm-hmm.
baptized, married, or died, or immigrated,
Mm-hmm.
those were all kind of instances where there's usually some paperwork, um,
Mm-hmm.
documentation made. And so, like a lot of these are baptismal records
Mm-hmm.
from where
Mm.
my family's from. So yeah, so I've gone back to about 1520. That's about as far back as
Holy
I've been.
cow.
And I
I
don't
I
know how
might end
accurate
up
it
doing
is,
this
but
at some point in the near future just for the sake of curiosity because I really don't know. Like I only know the ones that have been technically alive within my own lifetime.
mhm.
And that goes back to like
Yeah.
my as far back as my great grandpa, which is not very far.
I'll
So
have to find my genealogy book and see how far back my grandma went. But like, I guess the most interesting stories that have come from all of that would be like on my dad's side, we came from Germany, and our last name used to be Burning, actually, Burning. And when we came to the States, we changed our name to Binning, so we wouldn't be known as Germans.
so you're the
So they
I'm the
changed
burning.
they changed the U to an E and made the R a little bit longer, so it would be an
Interesting.
N. And it changed to Binning. And then on my mom's side, we're very Native American, and
Mm.
that's solely because there was a Native American woman that like abandoned her tribe and ran away with a white guy, and they had babies, and that's where that side of my family came
Hmm.
from.
Wow.
Like
I in theory we're supposed to have specifically some Crow Indian in our
Wow.
blood, but I don't know how accurate anything really is because I've never done any of the research. But I know like as far as like my actually come to think about it, like both my mom's side and my dad's side both have kind of traditional more Irish or Scottish names. Like my on
mm,
my mom's side, her dad's name was Reed, and actually weirdly so he married someone who also had the last name of Reed, but it was spelled differently. So one was spelled Reed, the other was spelled Reid. So it's really weird. So Reed and Burns are both those both tend to sound kind of more of that kind of, for lack of a better way to put it, more Gaelic area. But I need to do some research. Like I have no idea actually of my genealogy.
The name.
I don't know where I come from. I come from the ground.
We have two last names in our family that go back a ways, and I can't remember which one it is. Either Applequist or Alstead. Alstead is my grandmother's maiden name,
Mm.
and one of those names was given to us when the family was immigrating from Sweden, and as they were either boarding the boat or getting off the boat, basically they were lined up and they were just given a name that started with the first letter of the alphabet. So my ancestor was the first one in line. So they
Wow.
received.
Really?
Yeah, they just went
That's crazy.
and gave them all names.
Oh no, like our name changed like when we came over, running away from Hitler, pretty much, is
Oh
when they
wow.
changed their name from Burning to Binning.
Wow.
So that's been fairly recent that my family has come here.
That is recent.
Have you guys? I don't know if you guys have ever done this. I've done it a couple times, but have you ever kind of looked at like the history or meaning of your names, like of your surname specifically?
My
I know.
apple twig means, or Applequist means apple twig.
Oh, gotcha. I was gonna say. So from what I've been able to derive on the interwebs, is that the surname Burns is supposed to have several origins. In some cases, derived from the Middle English or Scots burn, and originated as a topographical name for an individual who lived by a stream. Um, According to some other ones, an early form of a surname when derived from a nickname meaning burn house, or Brunhus.
Does this mean that your
BREN.
ancestors were
All arsons.
yeah.
that would make sense for my love of fire.
And see, if I look up
fireplace behind you?
if I look up Burning as a last name, also it gives me the same thing. It's just
Really?
it's because of the like it comes from burn, burna, burn, BURNE, burn. Yep.
Do you guys know if you have any interesting ancestors? Like pretty much my entire family going back indefinitely were farmers in Sweden. We were all farmers. That's all we were. How about, do you guys know any?
I can't think of any specifically. Like I know, like I said, I only know back so far, but most of my family. Okay, so on my mom's side, my mom's mom was an actress. I don't know.
Of course.
Naturally. I don't know if she had a degree or if it was just in like her personal life that she liked doing that kind of stuff. I've never really asked. And unfortunately, she died kind of young.
I feel like on my mom's side, I remember when I was younger, them talking about like back in like the Western days that like a few of our ancestors were like robbers. Like they made a living out of that.
Oh gosh.
So I'll have to
You come
definitely
from outlaws.
right. I'll have to pull my genealogy book out for sure and take a look at that.
It makes me wonder if you're have any relations to like the Dalton gang or stuff like that, because you know
I lived in the
Hopkins.
same I lived in the same city as them. Our family grew up around there, so
Hannah is descended. She has like a great 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 grandfather, maybe even one more great. There was Tennessee Vaughn.
oh, that's cool.
Oh, you told me about this before.
Yeah, he's a famous cowhand that moved
Yeah,
from Texas north back in the day. And there's a museum in South Dakota
that's awesome.
my family got to go to, and the middle of the museum, there's like this huge statue of Tennessee Vaughn. So they took their family's picture there, and it's like
I still think it'd be really cool to do a fictionalized
That's so neat.
radio drama surrounding that.
Yeah, I agree. We've had that thought before.
We have.
That would be
cool.
I still want to do that. I just need more writing skills.
A lot of the things I see these days, there's not a lot of skill involved.
It's true.
Good.
I'm just like I'm perfectly confident and comfortable with acting and or directing, but when it comes to writing, I'm just not confident nor comfortable really.
Mhm.
So
Well, I think that's probably a good place to wrap it for today. Like I said at the beginning, I don't know if we'll be back on Monday with a new episode. It's entirely possible we might be, but we've sure appreciated you coming along and watching these vlogs for the last 7 weeks.
Mhm.
It's wild it's been that long, and it seems like it wasn't that long ago where we started doing this. So
Yeah.
anyway, thanks a lot, and stay tuned. There's a lot more stuff coming, and when we all hopefully get in the same building, we'll be able to make more things
Yes.
quickly.
yeah, especially in the actual studio.
Yeah.
Right.
Studio.
So please like and subscribe. Hit that
Studio.
notification bell to be notified every time we come up with something new. And yep, see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.